Here at Hot News Talk Radio, I'm Russell, the news director. Here's what's happening. We're also doing Digital Drive here as well. And we got some news coming out that we're going to bring to you. One is, of course, the top story, which is what's happening in Virginia. And it's the killing now of two WDBJ7 employees. And it appears that happened on I-66. And now the man who's suspected of killing those two employees this morning also killed himself on I-66, according to the state police. The suspected shooter had been identified as Vester Lee Flanagan, who's sometimes known as Bryce Williams. That's Bryce with a Y. He was a former employee of WDBJ7 as well. Earlier this morning, state police came out with a picture of him as well, and Flanagan killed himself near mile marker 17 on I-66 at around 11:25 a.m. today. The suspect apparently opened fire on WDBJ7 photographer Adam Ward and WDBJ7 reporter Allison Parker at around 6:45 a.m. Vicki Gardner of the Smith Mountain Lake Regional Chamber of Commerce was also injured in the shooting. She's currently in surgery and is recovering. She had apparently been hit in the back. Adam was 27 years old. Allison had just turned 24. Both Adam and Allison were from the WDBJ7 viewing area, and that's up in Virginia. Adam graduated Salem High School and Virginia Tech, and Allison grew up in Martinsville and attended Patrick Henry Community College and James Madison University as well. And there's apparently going to be a news conference at Willard Office Plaza at 1:00 p.m. today. And the sheriff's office is being assisted, I should say, by local, state, and federal agencies. And they're in the process of setting up a command center and staging area for the media. The location is the Willard Office Plaza, which is at Booker T. Washington Highway in Hardy, Virginia. So those two WDBJ7 employees were killed on Wednesday in an attack at Bridgewater Plaza. And now we're going to go live to the TV newsroom here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. We're going to bring you the live broadcast from our CBS affiliate up in Virginia, right here at Hot News Talk Radio.
Okay, so this is the latest that we have in from Virginia State Police. Let's go over to Amanda Kenny. Amanda, you've been talking to Virginia State Police all morning, and we have heard all sorts of reports as this has transpired. What did they tell you about what actually happened? This was at Bridgewater Plaza, by the way, near Halesford Bridge. Those of you who know the lake, it's a very popular, well-known spot there. What more do you know since you've been talking to state police?
Yeah, well, it did happen this morning, very early this morning, around 6:45 a.m. It was, a normal day, normal live shot. It was supposed to be a feature story at Smith Mountain Lake. They're celebrating their upcoming 50th anniversary of actually filling up the lake because it is a man-made lake. And they were interviewing Vicki Gardner. She's with the Smith Mountain Lake Chamber of Commerce. And that, unfortunately, is when someone started shooting at them. And now we do know who that suspect is. And that is Vester Lee Flanagan, a former employee here at WDBJ7, also known as Bryce Williams on the air. And this is the video you're seeing now of the scene. After the shooting had happened, they were actively looking for him. They had a lot of agencies on hand to help them, local, state, and federal. And again, it does seem that they have appeared to have found him. And as we were just told, Vester Lee Flanagan, also known as Bryce Williams on the air, is still alive at this moment. He still has a pulse. And of course, we're going to continue to get you as much information as we can, as soon as we can.
And when you see these reporters in the morning newscast, and Kimberly McBroom can tell you, Allison does multiple live shots from one location throughout the 5 to 7 o'clock hour. And so you're maybe wondering, well, how would this guy even know? How could someone get in place and find a crew? We are in a position where we work in a very public industry. We are out there. You know where we are. We are live right now. And so Allison's live every morning, and she might be live at 5:15, 5:20.
2-hour show, so you could pick it up at 5 a.m. and easily get to wherever she is, which is apparently what he did. We're just looking at live video just now of Interstate 66, where apparently Vester Lee Flanagan's car was, where he apparently was pulled over and shot himself. Again, he is not dead, as we reported earlier. State police corrected us on that. He is in very critical condition, and will, of course, stay on top of that and let you know if anything changes with his status. This has just been a nightmare now. This has been going on for just about 5 hours since we first found out. And that's the location right there in Fauquier County in Northern Virginia, about 3 hours from here, Interstate 77 and mile marker 17, to give you an exact location. So he apparently drove from Bridgewater Plaza there in Franklin County northward. Where he was going, we have no idea. You know, he was obviously trying to get away from police. If there was another possible target, somebody else he was after, I don't know. You know, these are things that we'll probably never know.
And
I mean, it's just one of those things.
And in many times the case where something like this happens, a gunman feels surrounded and
Correct.
then shoots him or herself. And state police tell us that Vester Flanagan shot himself. Very critical condition right now. All morning, this has been a very tough morning, as you can imagine, here at WDBJ7. Our fearless leader, Jeff Marks, has been here with us through it all. And what more did you want to add, Jeff?
Fearless, it's an interesting term, isn't it? Because our reporters and photographers are generally fearless. They will go after any story. And I want to thank a few people. One is the Franklin County Sheriff, Overton, and the state police and the other authorities who have been working on this. They have kept us informed, concerned that this fellow would come to our headquarters in Roanoke. The Roanoke City Police set up a barrier for us. And for a while, we were just keeping everyone in the building. Our friends at WSLS called early and said, whatever they cover that we can't get to today, they would help us with, and we're grateful for that. And we are grateful to the families of these two victims who gave them to us so that they could do their job and do the job so well to make WDBJ7 so strong. And our hearts go out to them, as it does, I'm sure, from every one of our viewers and from those at WDBJ7. And, you know, I reflect on what happened and the fact that this guy may have killed himself, he may not have. And I think I'm going to step out of my role as a former journalist and say, I'm not really sure whether I want him to live or die. If he dies, then he took the coward's way out. And if he lives, he goes on trial and goes to prison for the rest of his life. And I presume that, and I'm speaking way out of turn, but I think I'm expressing what viewers think and what many of the co-workers of Allison and Adam think. Yes, if he lives, he's due process, and this could all be a mistake. I doubt it. But in any case, we're hurt enough that we want to express our anger, and we want to express our love for Allison and Adam, who, whenever I saw them here at work, were full of smiles and full of conversation and exuberance about what they did. And they're going to be so missed and not easily replaced, and probably not ever replaced in terms of what they brought to the party. So on behalf of all of us at WDBJ7, I wanted to let that little bit of anger out and that little bit of that whole lot of love out, and say I want to thank you all for the professional way in which you have covered this story today, and go from here to a memorial gathering we're going to have in our community room, where all of our employees are going to be welcome to do a little praying and to talk about these loved ones whom we have lost.
And as we go through this very difficult morning and afternoon now here at WDBJ7, we are also following the news angle of this. We understand there is to be a 1 o'clock news conference. Is that still on, Kelly, in Franklin County at the command post that has been set up? Perhaps then we will learn more about
Are we carrying that
what
live?
happened. We are going to carry.
We'll carry it live and stream it live.
We are going to carry that news conference live. We will also carry it live on WDBJ7.com. We will live stream it. And so we will be learning, as you are, perhaps more details about what exactly happened, what police know about what happened this morning at Bridgewater Plaza at Smith Mountain Lake.
And we are looking at a live video. This is from Interstate 66 up in Fauquier County, where Vester Lee Flanagan was pulled over, where he did shoot himself. Again, he is not dead. He is in very critical condition right now. He is the man who pulled the trigger, who shot our two co-workers and friends, Allison Parker and Adam Ward, this morning on live television. And we are continuing again to follow this news.
And there you have it. We have been listening to our CBS affiliate WDBJ reporting that the suspect, Vester Lee Flanagan, shot himself. He is in critical condition. The manhunt is over after he shot and killed Allison Parker and Adam Ward earlier this morning. He was found on I-66. That's about a 3-hour drive in Fauquier County away from where the shooting took place. Our transportation correspondent, Chris Van Cleve, is on the phone with us. Chris, what do you make of how far he made it?
Well, we must have driven past him in the other direction, frankly, because there's no way we couldn't have. We know that he had about 5 hours to make a 3-hour drive. So I guess it's not a huge surprise that he was able to cover that distance. He wouldn't have hit a lot of traffic, but it is. It also makes sense now that we started, as we were driving through Harrisonburg. While we saw a heavy police presence, we also saw a lot of officers heading north up 81 in the direction of 66, given where this ended, not too far after you make the move on to 66. And Interstate 66 would take you from sort of this central rural Virginia into Washington, D.C. So if you were leaving Roanoke, you would come up 81. Eventually 81 hits 66, and that's where this all came to an end, it appears now.
That's Mary Ellen O'Toole, a former FBI profiler. And Mary Ellen, we heard from the general manager there, Jeff Marks, of the station, talking about the work history of the suspect. He said that he was hired as a reporter and that the general manager described him as an unhappy man. He said that he was dismissed, that this person did not take that well. And in fact, the general manager said they had to call police to escort him from the building. Since then, we heard a little bit about the legal history that he filed an action with the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, made all kinds of complaints, including racial allegations of racial comments. Those were investigated according to the general manager. None of that could be corroborated. And in fact, we heard the general manager say he believes that those were fabricated. In turn, the EEOC dismissed that claim out of hand, and that was that. He was let go 2 years ago, known to viewers in that market as Bryce Williams. Mary Ellen, given all of that, how unusual is the way in which this person has apparently chosen to carry out not only his crime, but in the aftermath of it as well, broadcasting what it is that took place?
Oh, sure. His behavior is not typical, I'll say that. And his response to how he perceived, how he was treated at the TV station is completely disproportionate to what actually happened there. And he really is a classic injustice collector. And that's behavior that starts early in life. It didn't just start when he was an adult. And he goes through life collecting and actually looking for injustices. And I heard the manager say that. He actually engaged people so he could hear things, and then he would perceive them as being racist or insults. But again, the dangerous injustice collector is one who disproportionately responds to how he thinks he was treated. And murdering two people is clearly a disproportionate response to anything that they said or did to him. And that's what makes these people really dangerous. But it's rare. It's not something that we see a lot. But when it does happen, their behavior almost becomes predictable. But in his case, the fact that he wanted to continue to air it and tweet about it and have people follow him, I think that's very unusual.
What do you make of the fact that it was 2 years ago when he was dismissed from the station, and here we are in 2015, and he is coming after them?
And you know what? This tells me that this was not really an act of rage, because rage is very quick in responding to a put down or to feeling like you've been wrong. So he brooded about this for 2 years. He had 2 years to put this plan together. And so this is someone that is in control. He's not acting in a hysterical manner. He planned it thoughtfully. This is not an act of rage.
I want to go back to Chris Van Cleve. Chris, you're still with us. I assume now you're heading back towards that area, towards I-66 now?
But we are continuing down to Roanoke.
Oh, okay.
We've not turned around. Go ahead. No, sorry.
I was just going to ask, what have you seen in the way of any additional law enforcement? I know you were describing the posture of some of those officers that you were seeing as you were passing Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Yeah, we really now have some context for what we were seeing. We were seeing police still actively pursuing the suspect, and talking with one of our photojournalists that was out here, they believe they had sighted a car similar to the one they were looking for, and that was part of why the officers were there. And then as they continued moving up 81, clearly the state police had eyes on the suspect as they were able to follow him to the place where he shot himself. What we're seeing now is we're about into Roanoke now and heading to WDBJ. So where we are is pretty smooth sailing. You wouldn't know something like the manhunt we saw today had happened based on where we are right now. But certainly what you've got is an investigation going on now in the Fauquier County area where the shooting happened, and you've got a parallel investigation going on in Franklin County, Virginia, where the where the murder of these two journalists and the wounding of this innocent Chamber of Commerce person who was just doing an interview, where that shooting happened. You have the Franklin County authorities conducting that investigation. Certainly, they, just like we are right now, our CBS News investigative unit is digging into the suspect's history and past. Investigators are doing the same thing. We have heard about a very lengthy potential manifesto that was faxed to a news agency last night. That's been handed over to authorities, we understand, and they will go through that as well. His social media accounts have been deactivated. But, Elaine, as we were talking about going through Harrisonburg and seeing all that police activity, my colleague that I'm driving with flagged me to the police activity because that was right as those horrible videos were showing up on social media. So as he was fleeing, unless he had help, he was posting these videos as he was fleeing from police before ultimately turning the gun on himself.
Oh. Mary, I know you have to go, but I did have one last question for you. And you had described the suspect as in control, and this was well planned out. I'm curious, with your experience, what do you think makes somebody like this snap, considering this happened 2 years after he was let go of that station?
I wouldn't say that this individual snapped at all. This is not a real quick impulsive act. This was an act that was in the planning for a long time. And we see that because of his behavior, that he had to get intelligence to know where they were going to be. He gets in the car, presumably he's wearing a vest. So all of that suggests a lot of planning. So it's not snapping behavior. Why he chose today, we don't know. And he may have decided it would be today because today has a special meaning for him. Something else may have happened and he chose today, but this was a long time in the planning. And I think that's what's really important. What's concerning to me is that when you plan something like this, there's behavior you display to people around you. We call that warning behavior or warning signs. And it's just always a concern that people didn't see the warning behaviors beforehand.
All right, Mary Ellen O'Toole, thank you so much for your insight. We know you have to go. We appreciate all of the information that you've shared with us. In the meantime, we want to go back to WDBJ, our CBS affiliate in Roanoke, Virginia, as they close out their newscast. Let's listen in.
Because Adam made appearances on WDBJ7 as well. And so we're going to try to find some of those great moments and bring them to you later.
Yeah, he was a regular on our WeatherBug quiz questions. He loves to chime in there and answer. And normally he was right. And the great thing about Adam, he loved to talk, and he would always give like these long-winded answers. And Leo can attest to that. He liked to share his knowledge and drop some knowledge. And he was a very smart guy. You're seeing a video now from a sleep study story that they did a little while ago, and they were each sharing their stories. Trying to sleep with the electrodes on, and just such good humor and great storytelling too. Hard news, feature, any kind of story that you sent her out on, she would cover, and she'd cover well, like she had been here for 10, 15 years, and she was still relatively new. And I think a lot of us kind of forgotten that because she was so ambitious, and she would take on big projects like the child abuse special we just did last week.
I remember every morning, even this morning, Adam always came to the weather department and he said, "What's the weather going to be like?" And I'm like, "How do I know? What do you want us to do that?" And we'd all laugh, and he'd go about his business because, of course, you have to make sure there's no lightning for a live shot. But that was our thing, and we did it again. So it's just unreal.
You're all one big family on the morning show. I know that we're all one big family here. We always say, but it really is true. We all work in such close contact, and when it's snowstorms, the morning crew frequently spends the night here, and everyone camps out and looks out for each other. And I know I just can't even.
Kimberly can attest one thing too. We come here really early in the morning, sometimes 2:30, 3 in the morning, and we're here. Sometimes you're just kind of dragging yourself in. And you always heard Allison come in, the bubbliness of her, and then Adam saying, "What's going on? Hey, everybody!" And it's going to be missed.
Even if they were up all
night.
night.
And grab a piece of candy and walk around and go see Leo, check on the weather, say something about the Boston Bruins or the Red Sox or something.
And Virginia Tech love.
And Virginia Tech love. And
I know, don't look at that shirt where it just says Virginia, because Adam it says Virginia.
There's a Tech under there, we promise.
Nothing against Virginia fans, but Adam is a Virginia Tech guy. So.
And I was going to say the morning show is a real challenge. 2 hours from start to finish, and a lot of work for those folks here in the studio, but also for Allison and Adam out in the field.
Absolutely.
Allison was off on Monday, and so I filled in for her on Monday, and Adam was with me. We were out at the Civic Center doing a story on recycling, and he just helped me through with it, got me through something I'm not very familiar with, and he was high-fiving on the weather question, and it was just a real pleasure to work with him. And
he was so much fun.
We're going to miss them both very much.
And you two worked on the child abuse special, Allison and Kimberly, and they both were here at the station doing a live broadcast between 8 and 9 p.m. on Monday night. And then they both had to come in and do the morning newscast. How they did this, because they both of you, yourself included, you're saying Allison's a brand and bushy tailed, you too. They both came in with smiles on their faces and somehow made it through. And you all just are doing amazing
with family,
work.
that's what we do. That's what we do.
And I'd like to point out that special, the child abuse special, because that really was a very significant piece of work. And she has been working on that for weeks. She would do her morning shift and do the normal features in the morning or the breaking news. And then she would go out and shoot another story about the child abuse story and about the child abuse special. And she was just very focused on that and getting those pieces done, because she felt it was really an important piece of work that she could be proud of.
Yeah, and she would work those long hours and would never complain, and that's just who she was, and that's who Adam was, and they, it's just such a monumental loss. I can't even.
They're bright stars. They were going to go far.
Yeah.
Adam Moore, 27 years old. Allison Parker, 24 years old. Both WDBJ7 employees, both fatally shot this morning. Let's do a quick recap before we say good night. This morning, 6:45, during a live report, Allison Parker was interviewing an employee from the Smith Mountain Lake Chamber of Commerce. Adam Ward was a videographer shooting that story. He was videotaping and sending live pictures back to this station. Kimberly McBroom was here anchoring when a gunman walked up and at point blank range fatally shot Parker and Ward. They fell to the ground and have both died. A third person, Vicki Gardner, who worked for the Smith Mountain Lake Chamber of Commerce, Lake Chamber of Commerce, was injured. She underwent emergency surgery, and Carilion Clinic reports that she is currently recovering and in stable condition. The suspected gunman, according to Virginia State Police, is Vester Flanagan, a former WDBJ7 employee who went on the air by the name Bryce Williams. You may remember him. He reported here and left here a couple of years ago, not on good terms. And apparently, if what transpired today is what Virginia State Police think, apparently he had it out for WDBJ7 and its employees. And that came to fruition at Bridgewater Plaza in Manita today when the gunman opened fire, killing 2 WDBJ7 employees and injuring a third person, Kim.
Yeah, and he apparently drove another 3 hours or so. This is a live picture from Fauquier County, Interstate 66. This is where state police say that apparently Vester Lee Flanagan, a.k.a. Bryce Williams, pulled over, shot himself. He is not dead. State police originally said that he was dead. They have since corrected themselves. We are correcting ourselves. He is in very critical condition right now after shooting himself. And again, this is a live look. It's an active police situation there. Also, Bridgewater Plaza, the scene where the shooting happened this morning on live TV.
We are awaiting a 1 p.m. press conference. We will take that live here and on WDBJ7.com. And now that it appears the suspected gunman is no longer a threat, the sadness, the huge hole is left here at WDBJ.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Their voices cracking there as they have been doing an incredible job reporting on such a sad story. Their colleagues. What's so sad about the death of Allison Parker and Adam Moore, they were both young journalists in love. And we wanted to read this Facebook post that was posted by Allison's boyfriend, Chris Hurst. He was an anchor at the station. And he says, we didn't share this publicly, but Allison Parker and I were very much in love. We just moved in together. I am numb. We were together almost 9 months. It was the best 9 months of our lives. We wanted to get married. We just celebrated her 24th birthday. She was the most radiant woman I ever met. And for some reason, she loved me back. She loved her family, her parents, and her brother. I am comforted by everyone at WDBJ7. We are a family. She worked with Adam every day. They were a team. I am heartbroken for his fiance. She is our morning show producer. This is unconscionable, but I will share her story because it is one full of life, dreams, love, and amazing journalism. She just finished working on an incredible special on child abuse, and it was fantastic. We will get through this, and there will be justice. Your thoughts and prayers mean the world to me. Our thoughts and prayers go out to WDBJ. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching CBSN.
We've got 6 reasons to go to paradise. McGarrett, Dano, Chinho, Kono, Max, Grover. Booyah! Make that 7. Jerry. Diddly-doo! Hawaii 5-0, Friday, only CBS.
I know, we're nervous.
Together, let's make your next journey extraordinary.
Get up, girl! Show me what you can do! Shake it, shake it!
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Sky Aerial Services uses advanced drone technology to give you a better perspective and depth of your property and project. We offer aerial photography and video for your business, farm, home, or advertising campaigns, as well as editing services to complete the experience. Call us at 423-521-0284 and see how we can help you tell your story about your business, property, or project. We work with real estate professionals, both commercial and residential, developers, engineer inspectors, surveyors, ad agencies, auto and boat dealers, mapping services, insurance inspectors, corporate marketing, charity events, weddings, and photographers. Our consultation is free. Call 423-521-0284. That's 423-521-0284, or visit our website, skyaerialservices.com. Sky Aerial Services. The sky is our limit.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
This is America Now with Meghan McCain.
Outdoor running is crazy. You're flying around in your private jet all over the world, and you want average Americans to care about the environment. Don't you think you should be doing your part as well?
Meghan McCain, weekdays at 7 p.m.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I frankly don't remember, but members of the staff making racial comments. He was African American, and none of them could be corroborated by anyone. We think they were fabricated. But just as an insurance policy, we went around and talked to all of our employees who might have been able to be exposed to this, and we have a pretty diverse workplace, and we got nothing about that. And the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission dismissed the claim out of hand, and that was that. So we had an unhappy former employee, but this happens, and usually they move on.
Right.
Sometimes they're just not suited for the work, and they move on, get a job somewhere else. But he had remained in town because every now and then someone would run into him at the grocery store or someplace like that. But Kelly, I don't recall getting a report of any run-ins or difficult situations in the, I'm talking to Kelly Zuber, our director of news. So there was not a lot of concern, but something happened.
Such an incredibly emotional time for everyone there at that station. And in fact, the general manager, Jeff Marks, who you saw just there, alluded to that, and he expressed some of that feeling, including anger on the part of the staff. Let's listen to what he said.
I'm not really sure whether I want him to live or die. If he dies, then he took the coward's way out. And if he lives, he goes on trial and goes to prison for the rest of his life. And I presume that, and I'm speaking way out of turn, but I think I'm expressing what viewers think and what many of the co-workers of Allison and Adam think. Yes, if he lives, he's due process, and this could all be a mistake. I doubt it. But in any case, we're hurt enough that we want to express our anger. And we want to express our love for Allison and Adam, who, whenever I saw them here at work, were full of smiles and full of conversation and exuberance about what they did. And they're going to be so missed and not easily replaced.
And again, if you're just joining us, Virginia State Police say that as they were pursuing the suspect in this fatal shooting that took place live on air, the suspect ran off the road and crashed, was found suffering from a gunshot wound. A spokeswoman for the Virginia State Police said that the suspect is being treated for life-threatening injuries. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll have much more on this still developing story. Stay with CBSN.
Introducing CBS All Access, the anytime, anywhere television streaming service that gives you access to more CBS shows than any other.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect lots of sunshine and very nice weather out there through the afternoon. Still a little breezy, highs lower 80s. Tonight, clear, comfortable again, lows near 60. For Thursday, a little warmer, still lots of sun, highs near 85, 85 to 87, continued dry on Friday. Did you know that you could purchase a home now with little or nothing down? Find your dream home with McBriar Realty. Call McBriar Realty at 706-657-2353 or McBriarRealty.com. And I'm WDEF News 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
If you have the DTs, the shakes, because your phone is on the fritz, you have nomophobia. You need help. Your telecom doctor is in. Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall. Cell Surgeon yanks open the ribcage of your phone, pries out the dead heart, and puts in the beating life that you lead on your cell phone. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out? Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life. Mention Hot News Talk Radio and get 10% off.
It's time to show Iran that the American people stand united for Israel and against this nuclear deal.
An urgent message from the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews in Jerusalem. A dangerous nuclear agreement reached with Iran threatens the U.S., Israel, and the free world. Here's Rabbi Yechiel Eckstein on the danger.
Iran continues to wage war throughout the Middle East and terrorism. It supports terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, who continually threaten Israel with war.
Your voice is powerful and needed in the fight to protect the Judeo-Christian world from the terrorists who seek to destroy it. The Fellowship urges you to contact Congress today and ask them to say no to Iran nukes. Visit SayNoNukes.com to have your voice heard in Washington. That's SayNoNukes.com. The peace of Zion and Jerusalem depend on you. Thank you for taking action today.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
And when they found him, he was suffering from a gunshot wound. We also know from Virginia State Police that right now he is suffering from life-threatening injuries. But at this time, obviously, we are awaiting additional details from authorities. There you see the suspect, Vester Lee Flanagan, also known as Bryce Williams, a disturbing story that was broadcast on live TV. But in addition to that, also broadcast apparently by the suspect himself via tweets that went out several hours after the shooting, as well as posts on Facebook. Now, those accounts have since been suspended. However, that video, absolutely chilling to see the moments from the perspective of the gunman when those two people were shot and killed, and when the third person there was wounded. There is a screenshot of that. We should tell you the third person there, Vicky Gardner, she has gone through surgery and is in stable condition, but obviously such a set of circumstances that for our colleagues there at WDBJ, absolutely unimaginable. We've been hearing them reporting on this all throughout the day. So the suspect right now suffering from life-threatening injuries, according to Virginia State Police.
We're going to get our next update from authorities at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So we will bring that to you live on CBSN. But as Elaine said, just a chilling account of what happened here. As you see the gun pointed at Allison Parker, a 24-year-old journalist who was in love with a fellow anchor at the station. Adam Ward was the photographer who was shot and killed. Their general manager told us a little bit about the suspect. He worked at the station under the name Bryce Williams for just a year, from 2012 to 2013. He said he was difficult to work with. Williams complained about several different people and even accused them of making racist comments. The general manager, he took it very seriously. He went around everybody, couldn't find anything to support the theories, believes that they were all fabrications. We're also seeing different tweets on Twitter saying that he may have been fired from a station before in Tennessee for other bizarre behavior and threatening employees. As Elaine mentioned, he was found about a 3-hour drive away in Fauquier County along I-66, and he is in critical condition. The station there, WDBJ, doing an excellent job of reporting under just terrible circumstances, really heart-wrenching for them. And they are going to be bringing us updates. We're continuing to dip into their coverage throughout the day. Again, we're going to be hearing from authorities at 2 o'clock on the very latest.
We want to go ahead and we're going to show you some of the tweets from this account by Bryce Williams. And these are, again, from an account that has since been suspended. But here you see, if you look at that, absolutely chilling tweet. I filmed the shooting, see Facebook. This is what was being released as police were in pursuit. So you'll remember, so Adam went to HR on me after working with me one time to recall what it is that the general manager said happened in the way of legal action. They hired her after that. These are, again, these tweets from this account that has since been suspended by Twitter. Allison made racist comments. Again, the general manager said after investigating that, there were absolutely, there was no evidence, no corroboration of this whatsoever. And ultimately, the complaint was dismissed by the EEOC.
And the reason that we are, showing those tweets, we want to point out is that this is pointing to premeditation. We talked to former FBI profiler earlier, Mary Ellen O'Toole, and she was saying that this was seems like a very well thought out and controlled plan. He was let go from the station in 2013 and didn't act until 2015. She said that doesn't mean that he snapped. It means that it was very well thought out and possible premeditation here as we show you these disturbing tweets that were going on during the manhunt for Flanagan?
We have a statement from the Franklin County. Is it the sheriff's office there? Is it from the Virginia State Police? A statement which I am told we can share with you. I don't have it right at my fingertips at this moment, but we know from the spokeswoman there that the suspect, again, is being treated for life-threatening injuries. A suspect, 41-year-old Vesterly Flanagan II, who was known at the station, WDBJ, as Bryce Williams, a reporter there, let go, as Meg was saying, in 2013. But it was in the course of this pursuit along Interstate 66. For people who are familiar with that, that is the artery that feeds into Washington, D.C. They were pursuing him when he ran off the road and crashed and was found suffering from a gunshot wound.
We also have on the phone with us former ATF agent Matt Horace. Matt, tell us what you make of everything and how it played out.
Well, I think in this case, this happened very early in the morning. So CCTV camera played a critical role in identifying a suspect vehicle. Law enforcement was able to identify that vehicle very quickly. Between the work of the Virginia State Police, other state and local organizations, the ATF, the FBI, and the U.S. Marshal Service, we identified a location, and it seems as though we might have made a good arrest in this case.
How unusual is it when you look at other cases that are similar, where you might have similar circumstances, someone who was not happy with a former employer, someone taking action, to have this social media element where not long after the crime itself, evidence from a first-hand perspective is broadcast and disseminated via social media? Have we seen that before?
Well, I think we've probably seen it in the past, but take in mind several things here. As soon as this crime happened, regardless of what law enforcement knew, there were a select group of people that knew that there were employees that may have had a problem with either one of the victims or with the networks. They were able to chime in right away and say, hey, this person left the organization a month ago under bad situations, and we suspect that it might have been him or her. This undoubtedly played a key role, and social media comes into play in a big way in 2015.
So I imagine, as sick and deranged as it is to be tweeting during this manhunt, you're saying that this really helped probably pin him down, maybe locate him a little bit faster?
By all means, absolutely. And this is a good example of great police work, great citizen involvement, and hopefully this is the end of this tragic incident.
We know that ABC News is reporting that, in fact, sometime in the overnight hours or early morning hours, there was a 23-page document that was faxed over to the organization by someone purporting to be the suspect, and that document, 23 pages, was given to authorities and turned over to authorities. What will be happening right now? Obviously, they're poring over that manifesto, but what are the kinds of things that they're going to be keying in on?
Well, number one, we got to verify that this document came, in fact, from the suspect who was in custody. Then they're going to go through the document and try to develop some key indicators that might have prevented this attack and try to develop a way to, work around it. But at the end of the day, these things come in all different sizes, shapes, and colors. And who could have thought that something like this would happen on air with a news crew? Yeah, it was absolutely it takes your breath away because it is so chilling to watch. Matt, I'm curious, as we watch this unfold, by all accounts at this point, are you hearing anything that this is the only suspect that could possibly be involved in this? Or are they still searching? As Elaine mentioned, there's that manifesto that they're going to be scouring. Any other possible suspects? I am not hearing anything to tell us that, but this case is just like all other cases. Investigators run down their leads, and we run down their leads blindly. We let the information drive the investigation, not the investigation drive the information. All right. If you'll stand by for us, Matt, we want to pull up the Virginia State Police Facebook page where there's an update now, and this is what it says. Shortly before 11:30 a.m., Virginia State Police spotted the suspect vehicle headed eastbound on Interstate 66. With emergency lights activated, the Virginia State Police trooper initiated a traffic stop on the suspect vehicle. The suspect vehicle refused to stop and sped away from the trooper. Minutes later, the suspect vehicle ran off the road and crashed. The troopers approached the vehicle and found the male driver suffering from a gunshot wound. He's being transported to a nearby hospital for treatment of life-threatening injuries. The male driver is believed to be the same male subject who shot 3 people this morning in Franklin County during a television news interview.
So there is the timeline of what exactly took place that led to the situation that we are seeing right now. It would appear that the suspect, he ran off the road, crashed, and had shot himself. They say gunshot wound singular, and that it is a life-threatening injury that he is suffering from right now. Matt, can I just ask you, in terms of what happens now in taking the lead on the investigation, what happens in obviously Virginia State Police have released this information. Are they now the lead agency, or will they be calling in help from the FBI?
Well, I think in this case you have the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, and the ATF involved. They're going to go back. They're going to check his social media. They're going to check his pages. They're going to read that manifesto and determine what about that information is accurate or not accurate. They're going to interview all the employees of the news station, and they're going to run down their leads until there are no more leads to be followed. And we have to make sure that gunshot wound is, in fact, self-inflicted, because at this point, investigators don't know. He could have been involved with a second person, with a third person. He could have gotten involved with a gun battle with other people. We have to slow and steady wins this race, run down the information, and determine what happened.
All right. We're also getting word that Vicki Gardner, and she was the woman who was interviewed by Allison Parker, who was shot in the back. She underwent emergency surgery. She is in stable condition now. So some good news coming out there. We did receive a statement from the President and Chief Operating Officer from the Roanoke Memorial Hospital. She was a close friend of theirs. She was transported to the Roanoke Memorial Hospital. She underwent that emergency surgery, and she is currently recovering and in stable conditions. We can relay that information.
So, Matt, at this point in the investigation, in terms of social media, what is the process now? Obviously, they're going through what it is that they have been able to secure. But when Twitter, for instance, suspends an account, when Facebook suspends an account, what is the cooperation like there between law enforcement and these companies?
Well, most of the social media companies have internal corporate security units that work with law enforcement to both get into these accounts. Law enforcement will get subpoenas and do exactly what they have to do to get into the accounts legally, and they'll take the time they need to take to go through each one of the social media entities as long as it takes until the investigation is complete. And hopefully they'll find more information about this suspect and also other suspects if there are any.
And I imagine that they are, as you mentioned, this investigation is far from over. They are going to be combing all corners of Virginia, wherever he was. Let's go back to where this shooting actually took place and what is going to be happening there in terms of taking precautions going forward and just helping people come back into that area. That was a popular shopping area.
Well, sure. And I mean, in this case, this was a very unlikely target, but certainly the suspect knew something. He knew they would be there at that time and used that as an opportunity to inflict this carnage.
What else might we be expecting in terms of behind the scenes now? We know another update is expected in about an hour by authorities. At this point, what are the things that are happening that maybe we see very visibly there, the investigators and the emergency vehicles along Interstate 66 in Fauquier County in Virginia? It's about 3 hours away from Moneta, the scene of the initial shooting. What are the things that are taking place now that we are not maybe seeing? What is it like in terms of talking to family and friends of the suspect here, in terms of going through the social media accounts? Describe for us that process.
Well, investigators are going to go back and determine who he was with, who he spent time to before and leading up to the crime. They're also going to be determining what caliber of firearm was used in the homicides, where the gun came from, if he was prohibited or if he was a legal purchaser, where he got the gun from, if he possessed other firearms. They're going to run the ammunition through the National Integrated Ballistic Information System to determine if that gun was used in other crimes that we can identify and try to determine the scope of his involvement in any other criminal activity. Then he's going to be interviewed if and when he gets out of critical condition in the hospital.
As we just want to bring our viewers up to speed a little bit, we are waiting for a 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time press conference from police to give us an update on this shooting. Vester Flanagan, the suspect in the shooting death of 24-year-old Allison Parker and 27-year-old Adam Ward. He was found along I-66 in Fauquier County with a gunshot. As Matt pointed out, we don't know if that was self-inflicted or if he came into another altercation along the way. Matt, what does history tell you in terms of your work at the ATF, and when you have a suspect like this on the run with firearms, possibly, we don't know how many, how likely is it that he may have encountered a struggle before leading up to the end?
Well, we just don't know. But one thing we know, when someone's on the run and they've already committed a homicide, that law enforcement, the state police in this case, have to treat this individual as though they're armed and dangerous. It sounds to me like they took their time. They took a tactful and strategic edge in executing a traffic stop down in eastern shore of Virginia. And of course, in this case, the vehicle had an accident, but it still put them in a position where they had to proceed with caution. So fortunately, no law enforcement officers were hurt in bringing him in. And, as best we know, he's being brought in safe and sound with no other injury to law enforcement or other people.
I want to tell our viewers that our investigative unit here at CBS News has, of course, been working this story all day long since the news broke, looking into the background of this suspect. And what we can tell you, this is according to one of our CBS News producers, our investigative producers, Laura Strickler. She says that so far there have been no criminal records at all in Roanoke City or county courts. Now, what she did manage to come across is a lawsuit from 2000. Now, this is dating back to his time, the suspect's time, at a Florida television station called WTWC. And it was back in 2000 that the suspect sued the television station for racial discrimination for $15,000. The suspect claimed that he was complaining of racial discrimination, that he was the victim of retaliation thereafter. He was employed as a newscaster there on March 16th, 1999. Again, this is from the court documents, which our investigative producer has gone through. There were some specific examples of discrimination that were cited, one of them being the plaintiff alleges he was called a monkey by a producer with the defendant, with the station, WTWC. And according to the court filings, the case was settled back in January of 2001. So we know the outcome of that case in 2001, that was settled. And we know the other case that was brought forth was actually dismissed. The allegations that he made against his former employer, WDBJ, those allegations were not corroborated, and in fact, that lawsuit was dismissed. Matt, let me ask you this. Are there warning signs? This is something that obviously I'm sure the people at the station are asking themselves, was there any way to know that he was capable of something so heinous like this?
Well, it's every time this happens, and, it's week after week, month after month, these incidents vary in scope and size. And sometimes there may be warning signs, but no one can say for sure that because someone won or lost a lawsuit that they're going to commit an act like this. No one can say for sure that if a person espouses racist views, that they're going to commit an act like this. And no one can say that because someone got denied a job, they're going to commit an act like this. And there really in lies the problem.
Signs do you look for then? Are there any kind of warning signs to look for?
Well, if you look at the profiles of active shooters and recent active shooters, they're all very different. So every time we think we have a profile of what the person that may end up being an active shooter, the profile changes with the very next incident. We catalog and monitor the information. We put them into our intelligence databases and we pay attention. But in this case, who would have thought that this person would have been that violent? And if someone had a thought, they might have issued reports to police departments in the past saying this employee left the organization and we're concerned about this sort of thing happening. If that didn't happen, and there's no way to tell for sure if this would have reached anyone's radar in that regard.
We had Mary Ellen O'Toole on, former FBI profiler, and she described the suspect as an injustice collector. I'm wondering if you can just elaborate on the profile of this type of active shooting situation. What is the profile right now? I imagine, obviously this is not the first time there has been someone who has been unhappy with a workplace and committed an act of violence. What is the profile as law enforcement sort of is looking at it for a situation like this?
Well, there isn't any one profile. In this case, this person was disgruntled. There's a disgruntled employee who's committed a heinous, horrible crime. And, this is played out a number of different ways in a number of places around the country. Unfortunately, it did this morning. There is no singular profile we can use to identify who's going to commit a crime like that. And if there was, then we could do a better job and a more comprehensive job of predicting when these things are going to happen. But to date, that hasn't happened.
So what do you tell stations like WDBJ, a small station, and when you're on a morning show like that, as they had mentioned, those live shots are repeated, so they can possibly become targets because it's well known where they are. How do you go about, we've seen other violence recently with news crews, and what is the answer in terms of protecting a news crew out on the scene like that?
Right. Well, I don't think it's only a news crew issue in this case.
No, but I'm using that example just because of what we're talking about.
Right. Well, I'm sure now because of the public visibility of news crews, the fact that they're in the public, they're doing scheduled interviews, scheduled stories. I'm sure it's going to cause all news stations around the country to sort of pay attention to operational security and who knows where people are going to do stories. And that may be the only thing. Pay closer attention to who has that information, who has access to that information. And it's going to be really interesting in this case to determine how this suspect had access to the information of where they were going to be this morning at 6:45 a.m.
Right. Well, that was well advertised because they do repeat live shots. So they were advertising it themselves. You know, we had mentioned earlier, I think when you were on, that even up here in New York, the NYPD, they put out extra security around the media outlets in New York City, just not knowing, because today it's just it's a different world that we live in with ISIS propaganda out there, and you're never sure what is going to be tied to terrorism or not. As we look at this, you know, we know the investigation is far from over. We're waiting for an update at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But what do you look at, and how do you counsel media outlets and other people out in the public like that?
Well, I haven't in the past, but I can tell you that this is going to create a whole different area of security for us because, as you know, the media is out, and this creates the optics of another vulnerability. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we didn't think about recruitment stations as being vulnerable. Prior to that, we didn't think about schools. So it's going to cause us to have to take a good step back and kind of look at what media outlets are doing when people are out in the field. Who knows where they're going and why, and start to evaluate what we're doing in terms of human resources in our companies.
If you're just joining us, we are on the phone with Matt Horse, who's giving us some insight into the investigative process here. Matt was with the ATF, and as we continue to learn more details here, obviously we are awaiting more information from authorities who are set to hold a news conference in roughly an hour, and we hope to learn a little bit more at that point. But right now, we have information from the Virginia State Police of exactly how it was that the suspect in this case came to be in custody. It was over the course of a pursuit along Interstate 66 in Fauquier County that, in fact, a trooper tried to initiate a traffic stop. The suspect did not stop his vehicle, and at that point, the car ran off the road and crashed. And the police, the state police, found that he had suffered from a gunshot wound, and he was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. So that is where things stand right now. And again, what we heard earlier today from the Virginia governor, Terry McAuliffe, is that this is a person authorities believe was a disgruntled employee. And in fact, we heard that corroborated by the general manager, who described the legal process that took place after this employee's dismissal. He used to work as a reporter there, was known to the audience at WDBJ and by his colleagues as Bryce Williams. But we are awaiting more information because we also know that sometime in the overnight hours or early morning hours, there was a 23-page document that was faxed to ABC News. ABC News has said that they have turned that document over to authorities, but no word on specifically what was in that document. It was purportedly from the suspect.
And we have our Chris Van Cleve on the phone with us now. Chris, where are you now? I know you're on your way to Roanoke.
We've just arrived at WDBJ, and there are people walking up to the station with balloons and flowers. The police have the driveway to the pizza station blocked off, but mourners are coming to each station to pay respects now. Elaine, you were touching on this update we got from the Virginia State Police that pretty much gave us a minute by minute as to how this wrapped up. It's a Virginia State Police state trooper who spotted the suspect's vehicle and attempted to make a traffic stop around 11:30 this morning on Interstate 66 in Fauquier County. The suspect's vehicle did not stop. In fact, sped away, and then minutes later, police say, left the roadway and crashed. When officers, the state troopers, approached the vehicle, they found the suspect, or a man believed to be the suspect, bleeding from what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That person was taken with, we understand, very critical condition to a nearby hospital. Here at WDBJ, obviously a very, very sad day for people here. We expect to speak to some of the employees here, some of the people who knew their colleagues who lost their lives today, and what is just absolutely awful sense of violence. But we do know now, at least the moments leading up to the very end here, state police spotting the vehicle, and that bringing about the end of this manhunt.
We've been hearing all day their stories as we've been dipping into coverage of WDBJ, Chris, and listening to the remarkable stories of Allison Parker and Adam Ward. I expect you're going to be hearing just some wonderful tales there, because they both sounded like top-rate journalists who came into work, as they mentioned, every day with a smile. And if you've ever worked a morning show in this business, you know you come in at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it is not easy. So they were just very highly thought of colleagues there, and we'll be looking forward to hearing what they have to tell you. Have you seen any of the employees yet, or you're waiting to go in?
I'm waiting to go in here. We just have arrived.
All right. I was trying to see if I could pull up. There appeared to be a statement, and I don't have it quite at my fingertips, but from the owner of WDBJ, the group that owns that, obviously expressing their sadness at the loss of these two journalists, Allison Parker and Adam Ward. And we should mention that Adam Ward, 27 years old, was engaged to be married. In fact, it was a morning producer whose last day was today that they all just celebrated. She was going to be moving to a new job, and he was set to follow her, and they were making their wedding plans. And he was thinking about leaving the television business, in fact, when this took place. Such a tremendously sad situation all around.
We are going to be hearing from WDBJ's general manager, Jeff Marks. He has been on the air most of the morning, giving us insight into his employees, really praising Allison and Adam and talking about what wonderful colleagues they were, what top-rate journalists they were, and he's going to be talking to us at 1:30, so we're looking forward to talking to him during this very difficult time for them. He also gave us some insight into Flanagan. He mentioned he was let go from the station. He only worked there for a year, from 2012 to 2013, but he did mention that he was difficult to work with. Flanagan went on to file an EEO report. He had several different complaints. He even went on to accuse the different employees of making racist comments, all of which Mark said were fabricated after he did an investigation. And some other information has come to light that it looks as if Flanagan was let go from some other television stations as well during his career. He went by the name Bryce Williams, and apparently he was fired from a station in Tennessee in 2000. Also for bizarre behavior and threatening employees.
And Chris, again, just describe the scene for us. You said you've been seeing folks walking up. The driveway is itself sort of closed off, it sounds like, before you get to the station itself. But can you just sort of describe what it is that you are seeing as this afternoon is continuing here?
The one man with him on the side was the side picture of him. That's better.
Chris, are you with us? All right. Let's go to our senior investigative producer, Pat Milton, who I know has been working this story along with the rest of the investigative unit. And Pat, I know you've been looking into the background of this suspect. What is it that you can tell us about Vester Lee Flanagan?
Well, I can just tell you that he had numerous positions at television stations throughout the country, and was either terminated or somehow left those stations and moved on to others. And there is reports that he was a problem at many of the stations. One of the stations reported that he almost had a chip on his shoulder, kind of looking for people to say something wrong so that he could pounce on them and criticize them.
Pat, any criminal information? Has anything like that come up in the background search?
Say again?
Any criminal information that
We're not seeing any criminal information at this point. We're pretty much, this was just a massive manhunt, and we were pretty much following the fluid event as it was unfolding right before our eyes, actually.
And if you can, Pat, just remind us again, because this morning I know there was one description of a vehicle that went out, and over the course of the morning, it appeared that that vehicle had been abandoned and he'd taken another vehicle. Can you just walk us through some of that? What is it that your law enforcement sources had said about that?
Absolutely. The police had put out a bulletin that they were looking for a 2009 gray Ford Mustang, and police were searching all over, helicopters, cruiser cars. They located at the regional airport in Roanoke, not far from where the shooting took place. And but then they somehow picked up information that the suspect had transferred over into a 2015 Chevy Sonic, a silver car, which we have apparently we have confirmed that it was rented at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Don't know where it was, whether he rented it right at the airport or whether he rented it elsewhere. We don't know also whether he rented it just right after the shooting. We know he had a 4-hour lead on the police. So we don't know whether he rented it right there after the shooting, or whether he had parked it somewhere and then went to that car. Police then put out a bulletin looking for this Chevy Sonic, and they had an all-out manhunt all over Virginia. They had spotted him on I-66, that's Interstate 66, which leads into Washington, D.C., maybe a 2-3 hour drive into Washington, D.C. And we have reports that they spotted his car. They were closing in on him. He somehow pulled over and shot himself. And right now we have reports that he's in critical condition.
And Pat, any information on whether or not he had an accomplice, or was he working alone?
Good question, and unclear, and I think police are looking into that too, especially with the transfer over of the cars.
Pat, I know you've seen that video, that very chilling first-person point of view video where he's holding up a weapon there. Do we know specifics? Have law enforcement authorities talked about what kind of weapon was used here?
Well, they believe they haven't confirmed that it was a Glock handgun, but they haven't confirmed that. But yes, it was just absolutely chilling to see those videos.
Right, and just for our viewers who might just be joining us and are not sure what we're looking at, over the course of the morning, from an account that was linked to the suspect, Bryce Williams, also known as Vester Lee Flanagan, absolutely chilling videos showing the gunman's perspective during the shooting. You can see that he raises the gun twice. We're not going to show you the video, but what we're showing you instead are screen grabs from that video, just to give people an idea of just how planned out this attack was. And in fact, Pat, we had been talking to Mary Ellen O'Toole, who I know you know well, the former FBI profiler, who said, if you look at the time frame here, 2013, he was let go from the station, and then 2015 commits acts of violence, allegedly here, against these two station employees. That would really speak to premeditation.
Yes, I guess that, it would be, and if eventually he does recover and does stand trial, which seems remote at this point, but if he does, this would certainly be used as evidence against him. That not only did the actual camera from the television station grab a glimpse of him doing the shooting, but also the fact that he apparently practiced to take video of himself, and that he indeed took video of himself shooting the two people, the cameraman and the reporter.
And those screen grabs are just absolutely chilling to look at. If we can pull them up again, because the cameraman has the photographer over his right shoulder, and he comes up right next to him with the gun, and he is just pressed up against his left shoulder. Here's the right there is the shot there. Well, Pat, what are your sources telling you about when this video came out and some of the tweets that were coming out. Did you hear anything about that and how that helped to get them to the suspect and his location?
Well, I think that they were using all means to track him, including electronic tracking of his cell phone. And I think that that might have contributed to locating where he was.
And Pat, anything else at this point that you can tell us? You've already shared a lot of information that we didn't know about before, but as our viewers are learning more about this, as we're learning more about this, what else are law enforcement sources saying? Because the thing that I think has struck us is to have this video evidence released so soon after a crime is committed. Have law enforcement officials seen that kind of MO before, where someone who is disgruntled, as authorities say they believe this person was, carries out an act of violence, commits a crime, and then broadcasts it essentially on social media? That's something that is akin to ISIS. You know, is that something that they've seen in criminal cases?
Well, it's all astounding, and it also underscores what FBI and what police departments have been alerting us to, that we don't know about these active shooters. They could be in their basement, in the kitchen, planning something, and all of a sudden they just show up on a scene like they did this morning at this shopping area and begin shooting. And it's very difficult without the public to report, somebody acting irregular or somebody calling and saying things that were outlandish or absurd. Without the public's help, it's very difficult to find out that these people are planning this kind of an event.
Yeah, just an absolutely tragic event there. Our senior investigative producer, Pat Milton, thank you so much. I don't know if you have to leave, but we wanted to go and listen in to Jeffrey Marks. He's the general manager of this station. Earlier, after he had been found, he made some comments about his troubling past, about Flanagan's troubling past. Let's listen into that.
Vester was an unhappy man. We employed him as a reporter, and he had some talent in that respect and some experience, although he'd been out of the business for a while when he was hired here. He quickly gathered a reputation as someone who was difficult to work with. Would you say, Joe DeShield? He was sort of looking out for people to say things that he could take offense to. And eventually, after many incidents of his anger coming to the fore, we dismissed him. And he did not take that well. We had to call the police to escort him from the building. Since then, he then filed an action with the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, in which he made all kinds of complaints, and there may have been one about Allison or Adam. I frankly don't remember, but about members of the staff making racial comments. He was African American, and none of them could be corroborated by anyone. We think they were fabricated. But just as an insurance policy, we went around and talked to all of our employees who might have been able to be exposed to this, and we have a pretty diverse workplace, and we got nothing about that. And the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission dismissed the claim out of hand, and that was that. So we had an unhappy former employee, but this happens, and usually they move on.
Right.
Sometimes they're just not suited for the work, and they move on, get a job somewhere else. But he had remained in town because every now and then someone would run into him at the grocery store or someplace like that. But Kelly, I don't recall getting a report of any run-ins or difficult situations I'm talking to Kelly Zuber, our director of news. So there was not a lot of concern, but something happened.
So many emotions for our colleagues there down at that Roanoke station, WDBJ. I want to tell you also that obviously There's a lot of anger there, too. These are human beings who got to know these two individuals, Allison Parker and Adam Ward, very well. And part of what they're feeling today is anger, as the general manager expressed as well.
I'm not really sure whether I want him to live or die. If he dies, then he took the coward's way out. And if he lives, he goes on trial and goes to prison for the rest of his life. And I presume that, and I'm speaking way out of turn, but I think I'm expressing what viewers think and what many of the co-workers of Allison and Adam think. Yes, if he lives, he's due process, and this could all be a mistake. I doubt it. But in any case, we're hurt enough that we want to express our anger, and we want to express our love for Allison and Adam, who, whenever I saw them here at work, were full of smiles and full of conversation and exuberance about what they did. And they're going to be so missed and not easily replaced.
Not replaced at all, as he said. Just a grief-stricken day for that station. We're going to be talking to Jeffrey Marks live at 1:30. You're watching CBSN. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
How did Applebee's top their all-in burger? With eggs and hash browns. Yeah, on a burger. And don't forget the bacon and onions seared inside fresh ground beef. The new all-day brunch burger with free refills of fries. That's a lot of flavor for a low price. Only
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Did you know that 1 out of 10 Americans will be diagnosed with what is considered to be a rare disease, and that it could take up to 3, 5, 8 years to diagnose that disease? Find out how my next guest, Jared Heyman, is using the internet to cut that time to less than 3 months. Don't miss Jared Heyman this Sunday at 9 a.m. on the Costa Report, right here on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Expect lots of sunshine and very nice weather out there through the afternoon. Still a little breezy, highs lower 80s. Tonight, clear, comfortable again, lows near 60. For Thursday, a little warmer, still lots of sun, highs near 85, 85 to 87. Continued dry on Friday. Did you know that you could purchase a home now with little or nothing down? Find your dream home with McBriar Realty. Call McBriar Realty at 706-657-2353 or McBriarRealty.com. And I'm WDEF News 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
This is America Now with Meghan McCain.
Al Gore running is crazy. You're flying around in your private jet all over the world, and you want average Americans to care about the environment. Don't you think you should be doing your part as well?
Meghan McCain, weekdays at 7 p.m.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
954288. Senior Lending Network is a program by Mortgage Warehouse, a licensed mortgage banker, New York State Banking Department. Caller's information will be shared with lenders who are members of the program. Consult your tax advisor regarding tax implications.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers, too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-890-5091, 800-890-5091. That's 800-890-5091.
Call the Laura Ingraham Show, 1-855-40-LAURA.
Jeb Bush doesn't have a clue, doesn't even have a clue. And if I weren't in this campaign, Jeb Bush would not be talking about illegal immigration. If you remember, he said they come as an act of love. Okay? Tell that to the families. And there are many, many, many families who lost a loved one.
This is an issue that grows the Republican Party. Now, why? Why does it grow the Republican Party? Because as we learned when we actually calculate the cost to America of illegal immigration in terms of Medicaid, the percentage on food stamps, which means the whole family gets the benefit of food stamps, to the obviously public school overcrowding, healthcare burden, all of it, add it all up. This is devastating for middle and low income Americans, especially. The rich people are going to be fine. A lot of the rich people on TV who go on saying, oh, this isn't a problem, don't worry about it, they're not affected by illegal immigration. But I have said for many, many years on this show that there is a seething, I think a seething and oftentimes silent majority of Americans who are just looking for someone to carry the torch of sovereignty and border enforcement for them. They're seething. These people are furious about what's happening. And they don't much like to be lectured by people like Jorge Ramos on the Constitution of our country or on the meaning of the rule of law. When I pretty much think that Jorge Ramos thinks that almost no one should be deported from the United States. I mean, if you really put some sodium pentothal into Jorge Ramos, the anchor from Univision, he would say that we are living on stolen land. How many of you agree that that's what he believes, his heart of heart? He has dual citizenship, by the way, Mexican and American citizenship. Correct? Is it Mexican citizenship? I don't even like this dual citizenship deal. And a lot of people have it. I understand some people are dual Canadian, American. I almost think you just have to choose. I don't like this dual citizenship. Oh, I have EU and American. What does that mean?
An immigrant and a U.S. citizen, and I have the right to ask any question to anyone.
And Jorge Ramos escorted out of the Iowa event after he tries to, like illegal immigrants do, he tries to jump the line because he has a right to ask the question. To hell with these other reporters that are patiently sitting there with good manners. To hell with them. Jump the line, Jorge. Jump the line. You have the right to jump the line because you are the most revered journalist at Univision. Big deal. Big deal. I don't care about what position you have at Univision. And the smart thing that Trump did is he invited him back in, despite the fact that he was really rude. Invited him back in, and he had a good conversation with him. Jorge Ramos is masquerading as a journalist. He's an activist for open borders and amnesty. 855-40-LAURA. Coming up, Donald Trump.
When you're running your own business, you're bound to be busy. Too busy. Too busy worrying about your budget. Too busy scheduling appointments. Too busy to build a website for your business. And because you're too busy, it has to be easy. And that's where Wix.com comes in. With Wix.com, it's easy for you to create your stunning website. Go to Wix.com and create your website today. It's easy and free. That's Wix.com.
It's fall flooring season with incredible deals on the hottest styles right now at Lumber Liquidators Fall Flooring Kickoff Sale. Choose from over 400 great floors with over 20 laminate styles like American-made mahogany for just 49 cents a square foot. More than 30 bamboo floors like carbonized bamboo for only $159, and over 150 hardwood floors like pre-finished gun stucco for only 99 cents. With $1 off Bellow with 20% off Dream Home laminates, plus great floors, wood-like tile, vinyl, and more with 24-month special financing. The Fall Flooring Kickoff Sale is going on now. Visit LumberLiquidators.com to find a store near you.
Mom just turned 82. I really worry about her living alone.
My mom's 74, and this is the first year she's going to be on her own. It's pretty scary.
My dad's 88. He's in great shape, but I still need to check on him several times a day.
Each year, more and more older Americans choose to maintain their independence and live alone. But if you're a child of one of them, you worry. What would happen if they became ill, got injured, or fell, and were unable to reach a phone? The answer is a small pendant from Alert USA. This two-way personal emergency response system is meant for those times when help is needed, but the phone is out of reach. The wearer simply presses the pendant, alerting our monitoring station, who then summons help to their residence. Right now, for a limited time, get the Alert USA system for just 50 cents a day. For a free brochure, call 1-800-832-1177. That's 1-800-832-1177. Act now and receive a smoke detector with free 24-hour monitoring when you subscribe. Call 1-800-832-1177.
Would you like to make more money? How about an extra $600,000? Well, the facts are that someone with a 2-year associate degree can make over $600,000 more in their lifetime than a high school graduate. And are you listening? A master's degree could mean $2.5 million more in lifetime earnings. At Ashworth College, you can earn a nationally accredited associate degree or a master's degree at home at your own pace. One call puts you on the path to more money, $600,000 more, maybe $2.5 million more. Find out how easy it is to get the education you need to succeed. Call right now for your free career kit. 1-800-942-4400. That's 1-800-942-4400. The call is free. So is the career kit. 1-800-942-4400. That's 1-800-942-4400. Call right now.
If you're a man or woman concerned about your hair loss, listen up. Follicare, a leading hair growth product, just got even better. Our 94.5% satisfaction rate just wasn't good enough, so we went back to work and created an even better product.
I looked in the mirror, I saw the hair growth, and I was astounded, and it was just an amazing feeling.
Follicare works so well because it's a unique, patented 4-in-1 product that addresses all the major causes of hair loss, not just one or two. Follicare provides over 50 botanical ingredients and nutrients, plus the only topical solution approved by the FDA to grow hair.
I get out of the shower, I look in the mirror, and I'm looking at all the hair, and I have this sense of awe. And I look at the bottle of Follicare, and I'm like, I can't believe that this product is making this all come together.
Look better and regain your confidence with Follicare, a proven product with more key ingredients than competitors, yet it costs about half as much. Your satisfaction is completely guaranteed.
Call 800-297-6941. That's 800-297-6941. Again, 800-297-6941.
What America needs is affordable health insurance. Finding affordable health insurance for you and your family, it's on everyone's mind right now. If you're self-employed, it's on your mind too. One of the things we face as entrepreneurial Americans is finding affordable health insurance. Well, I found a company you can call right now and get affordable health insurance. Midwest National Life Insurance Company of Tennessee. Write this number down, 877-921-7795. That's 877-921-7795. Midwest specializes in helping entrepreneurs of all kinds, those of us who run small businesses or don't get health insurance where we work, to protect our families with affordable health insurance. Call 877-921-7795. Not available in all states. Association membership is required in most states. Home office, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Exclusions and limitations apply.
Hi, I'm Robert Wagner with an important message for homeowners 62 years or older. If you own a home, you may be able to pay off your current mortgage or access the equity in your home without making any monthly loan payments. That's right, no monthly loan payments. A U.S. government-insured reverse mortgage allows you to convert the equity in your home into cash, giving you the financial independence you deserve. The tax-free proceeds won't affect Social Security or Medicare benefits, and you can use the money for almost any purpose you desire. The Senior Lending Network program has prepared a free educational video that explains how a reverse mortgage works, how to qualify, and how you can supplement your income without any monthly loan payments. If you're a homeowner 62 years or older, your free video is waiting. So call now.
For a free educational video from the Senior Lending Network on reverse mortgages, call 800-995-4288. 800-995-4288.
Senior Lending Network is a program by Mortgage Warehouse, a licensed mortgage banker, New York State Banking Department. Call this information will be shared with lenders who are members of the program. Consult your tax advisor regarding tax implications.
Call Laura now, 1-855-40-LAURA.
Every country in the world thinks that the United States is represented by stupid people. And they're right, of course. No, they're wrong. Very stupid people. Something happens in Washington. They get elected. They're really going to do a job. They're all enthused. They look at these beautiful buildings, these beautiful halls, and all of a sudden, they become impotent. Is that an appropriate word? I think so. They become it doesn't work. Put those two together.
Low T. They have low T. You're listening to the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA.
I don't think I've ever laughed so hard.
No, that thing was...
When he said that.
Hilarious. No, I really believe this. He is saying what people are saying at home when they're watching folks come on television and say, oh, illegal immigration has gone down. Oh, birthright citizenship isn't a big deal. Oh, we should do another big, huge trade deal like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and China will probably become a member and it's going to work out well for us. People are hearing that stuff in their living rooms and saying that I am just calling you on your you-know-what. That is just not true. And we're going down the drain, and we need someone to talk turkey about this stuff. I just bet people are in their living room saying, go Donald. They're screaming it, go Donald. I just think they're pumped because someone is finally addressing the concerns of the American middle class. And they're tired of this political correctness. Now, it's a long way to next year. And even Donald Trump said this yesterday. He said, look, it's the summer of Trump, but none of this is going to mean anything unless I beat Hillary or whoever the nominee is. And that means that, we have to have a really strong campaign, and that means we got to run it really well. 855-40-LAURA, the number here. We'll get to all your calls. Be very patient. I'll be on the O'Reilly Factor tonight, so you're going to want to make sure to tune in. It's going to be a great segment with Bill, and probably be on Hannity tomorrow night. So make sure to tune into Hannity tomorrow night and keep it going. Let's go to Alan, Scottsdale, Arizona, line 1. Alan.
Hi, Laura. Great show.
Thanks.
Donald talks about solutions, and the thing is, there are at least 5 more solutions that people could be talking about, and the first one is to stop the welfare for illegal aliens.
Right. Well, guess what? That will be part of the conversation, undoubtedly. Now we find out that every deported illegal immigrant household saves taxpayers more than $719,000. You want to save Medicaid, Medicare, all these entitlement programs? We can't just have a border that allows people like Swiss cheese to just walk right through. We can't have it. We can't do it. Let's go to Jennifer, Burlington, North Carolina, line 2. Jennifer.
Hi, Laura. First-time caller. I can't compete with the low T caller. I'm sorry.
Low T, low energy, low T.
Yeah. Laura, my sister-in-law is from China. She didn't speak very good English at all. She paid the $10,000, took the pledge to become a United States citizen. So when they talk about how I believe this is the cool wing of the Republican Party, because Jeb Bush he's exactly why we have been called out of touch, not with it. And then the liberal wing who hijacked the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I mean, just no brain.
All right. Yeah, we appreciate the call. Joined now by Donald Trump. The news just came out. He's leading by 35-11, the next closest competitor in the state of New Hampshire, where I spent 4 long winters in New Hampshire when I was in college. And back in South Carolina, he's up 30%. Lindsey Graham's at 4%. Donald Trump joins us now. Donald, how are you?
Hi, Laura.
It's good to talk to you. How's everything going out there? Looks like it was fun last night.
It was so amazing in Iowa. And we were in New Hampshire last week and in Iowa last night. And in Alabama, we had 30,000 people in a stadium. It was unbelievable. It's been, the crowd reaction is so inspiring to everybody. And to me, it's been amazing. People are looking for, that silent majority that we don't use that word anymore, and now we're using it again because that's what's happening. People are coming out, Laura, and they just want to see the country be great again. It's very simple.
Former President George W. Bush is now going to headline a Jeb fundraiser on September 10th in New York City. Before we had heard that he wasn't going to be really all that active in the campaign. Obviously, he supported his brother. But the nostalgia of September 11th, obviously the eve of the anniversary of September 11th attacks. What does this say to you?
Well, Jeb is failing, and part of the reason he's failing is because of his brother. I mean, his brother went in and attacked the wrong people. He broke up Iraq and destabilized the Middle East. And as you know, because you know very well, I've been against that war. And I'm a very militaristic person. I'm going to make our military so strong, and I'm going to take care of our vets so good. But you got to attack the right target. And ideally, if you're strong enough, you don't have to attack anybody because nobody's going to mess with you. That's where I want to be. But, the brother destabilized the Middle East. The brother has been, I'm not a big fan. So, if he's coming in, he's going to have to help his brother because, Jeb is a very low-energy person. And he's just not going to I don't care how much money they raise. He's not going to set the country right again. He's just not going to do it.
Virginia and North Carolina are now in discussions about implementing this, basically a requirement, kind of a loyalty oath that they're going to require all candidates to agree to be on the primary ballot, that any individuals in the Republican primary has to pledge not to run as a third party. If they go forward with that, what will your reaction be?
Well, I'd have to study it. I mean, I'm hearing about it now yesterday for the first time, and I'd have to study it. But I don't see it as a problem because I obviously, I'm leading in every poll. I've heard you going over some of the polls, but, we're leading in Iowa, we're leading in New Hampshire, we're leading in South Carolina, we're leading in North Carolina, we're leading everywhere in Nevada. And, we're leading in every single poll, both national. One poll came out yesterday, as you know, the Gravis poll, it was 40%. More than 40%.
But my point is that Republican establishment, which in my mind vociferously supports Jeb Bush. I don't care what they say. Most of them are in the pocket of the Bushes. But
Which is incredible to me.
Well, but I think they are. I mean, I think a lot of these people are. But my point is, look at what they did to preserve the seat of Thad Cochran down in Mississippi. I mean, they basically had Haley Barbour's group basically, pamphleted black neighborhoods with these flyers indicating that they thought Chris McDaniel was a racist, right? They're gonna pull out every procedural trick and everything that they can do to try to, I think, derail your nomination. Now we just learned that Colorado is canceling its presidential vote for the 2016 caucus. They're just canceling it altogether. So this is the kind of stuff they're going to do.
And what does that represent in Colorado? When you tell me about Colorado, they're canceling it for what purpose?
Well, we don't know. Colorado will not vote for a Republican candidate for president in its 2016 caucus after party leaders approved a little notice shift that may diminish the state's clout in a most open nomination contest in modern era. The GOP Executive Committee has voted to cancel the traditional presidential preference poll after the National Party changed its rules to require a state delegates to support the candidate that wins the caucus vote. I think what they probably determined is that you could probably win Colorado. So now they're not committed to support you if you win Colorado. That's why they canceled it.
Well, maybe, and who knows? I can only tell you this, that, whether it's caucus or not, like in Iowa, I'm so far ahead in Iowa, and a lot of people thought that would be going to Walker. And who knows? I mean, we still have a long way to go, and I don't want to get overly carried away because we do have a long way to go. But you take a look at Iowa, you take a look at New Hampshire, you take a look at so many different states that I think it's awfully hard when somebody's getting 30 and 35 and even 40% of the vote to say, gee whiz, we're going to try and put somebody in there who's got 6. Jeb is down at 5 and 6% in some of these places.
Do you think he should drop out of the race now at this point?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be the one to say that, but he certainly has not been. He has not been taking the ball. Yesterday, he was at the border the other day, and what he did is he brought the whole thing in with Asians, having to do with the anchor babies. He shifted away from Hispanics and brought in the Asians. Now the Asians are furious, and he has a massive editorial today in the New York Times, like, "What's wrong with you?" What he tried to do is put it onto Asians, and now he's lost the Asian vote. So I don't know. Does he know what he's doing? I have no idea. I can only tell you, I just want to run my own campaign. And so far, we've gotten by far, as you know, the biggest crowds. We've had the biggest response.
This is what happened. He went to Colorado. It's very interesting. Judd was in Colorado. Then Colorado announces they're canceling the. I was just, who knows what happened there? But this is what he said in Colorado right before the Colorado State party announced they were canceling its caucus.
Mr. Trump believes that you can just round people up, and that it's just an easy thing to do because he's a successful guy and you'll just have successful people do it and it'll all work out. Well, the cost of this will be extraordinary.
Expect lots of sunshine and very nice weather out there through the afternoon. Still a little breezy, highs lower 80s. Tonight, clear, comfortable again, lows near 60. For Thursday, a little warmer, still lots of sun, highs near 85, 85 to 87. Continued dry on Friday. Did you know that you could purchase a home now with little or nothing down? Find your dream home with McBriar Realty. Call McBriar Realty at 706-657-2353 or McBriar.
Yeah. Did you know that 1 out of 10 Americans will be diagnosed with what is considered to be a rare disease, and that it could take up to 3, 5, 8 years to diagnose that disease? Find out how my next guest, Jared Heyman, is using the internet to cut that time to less than 3 months. Don't miss Jared Heyman this Sunday at 9 a.m. on the Costa Report, right here on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When my brother and I opened our first Jets Pizza, we believed if we made the best pizza, customers would find us. So we made fresh dough each day, used fresh toppings, and premium mozzarella cheese. 300 plus stores later, we still do.
Try Jet's famous 8-corner pizza with premium mozzarella cheese and 1 topping, now just $11.99 for a limited time only. Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets.
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now. 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation, 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection, loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
Hi, I'm David Tulis, inviting you to make the move with me 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. The David Tulis Show, featuring Nooganomics.com for Chattanooga and beyond. 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays.
It's time to show Iran that the American people stand united for Israel and against this nuclear deal.
An urgent message from the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews in Jerusalem. A dangerous nuclear agreement reached with Iran threatens the U.S., Israel, and the free world. Here's Rabbi Yechiel Eckstein on the danger.
Iran continues to wage war throughout the Middle East and terrorism. It supports terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, who continually threaten Israel with war.
Your voice is powerful and needed in the fight to protect the Judeo-Christian world from the terrorists who seek to destroy it. The Fellowship urges you to contact Congress today and ask them to say no to Iran nukes. Visit SayNoNukes.com to have your voice heard in Washington. That's SayNoNukes.com. The peace of Zion and Jerusalem depend on you. Thank you for taking action today.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
again in an 8th video released by the Center for Medical Progress. Do you still believe there are 2 Planned Parenthoods, or is it time to defund this organization?
Well, you should defund anyway because they're doing the abortions. It's like an abortion factory, which is terrible. So you should defund anyway. But those videos are horrible. Every time you see them, they get worse and worse. And it's not only that, the messengers are so bad. They're always, I mean, these people, what they say and the way they talk, it's like they're selling parts to an automobile or something. It's a terrible situation going on with Planned Parenthood. There's no question about it.
$500 billion a year, and they're laughing in swilling glasses of wine while little baby parts are swirling around at a bowl right in front of this. Is just this whole thing is just, there are all these community health centers that do birth control and all that don't do abortions, and it seems to me that that's the. I mean, this is. You and Jorge gonna have a survey so soon?
No, I doubt it, but who knows? But I think I handled that well. I got a lot of credit for it.
Mika Brzezinski described you as masterful in your handling.
Wow, that's a compliment because she's masterful. So getting that from Mika is a great compliment. You know that.
And Donald, my daughter wants your autograph. Maria, she's from Guatemala, by the way. I adopted her. She's from she wants your autograph. And I said, look, I don't have any horse in this race, but I'll ask you, will you give her an autograph?
Anytime you want, and you can bring her up to the office, and I'll do it personally.
All right.
Okay?
Sounds,
I love it.
Sounds great. Donald Trump on the Laura Ingraham Show.
The Laura Ingraham Show.
Breathe it in, kid. Every 3 months, we install these air handler filters. They're more energy efficient, hold more dust, and are priced to save us more money. And Grainger's got close to 3,000 different styles and sizes to choose from, in stock and ready when we need them. I love oxygen, kid. And this facility's got some great AO2. I'm breathing easier just thinking about these air handler filters. Get some today. Get it? Got it? Good. Call clickgrainger.com/filters or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you need to wash dishes, you use dish soap. When you need to do laundry, you use laundry detergent. And when you need to clean your brakes, you use Brake Clean. It says what it does and does what it says. And now it's as low as $2.39 a can at Napa. Just $2.39 for CRC Brake Clean. To get your brakes, yeah, that's right. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 8/31/15.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers, too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-890-5091, 800-890-5091. That's 800-890-5091.
Mom just turned 82. I really worry about her living alone.
My mom's 74, and this is the first year she's going to be on her own. It's pretty scary.
My dad's 88. He's in great shape, but I still need to check on him several times a day.
Each year, more and more older Americans choose to maintain their independence and live alone. But if you're a child of one of them, you worry. What would happen if they became ill, got injured, or fell, and were unable to reach a phone? The answer is a small pendant from Alert USA. This two-way personal emergency response system is meant for those times when help is needed, but the phone is out of reach. The wearer simply presses the pendant, alerting our monitoring station, who then summons help to their residence. Right now, for a limited time, get the Alert USA system for just 50 cents a day. For a free brochure, call 1-800-832-1177. That's 1-800-832-1177. Act now and receive a smoke detector with free 24-hour monitoring when you subscribe. Call 1-800-832-1177.
Are you a business owner? Do you accept credit cards? How would you like to be rewarded for every Visa and MasterCard sale your business makes? Sounds too good to be true? Now, instead of credit card transactions costing you money, reward payment systems can reward you for every Visa and MasterCard sale your business makes, with reward points redeemable for plane tickets, hotel rooms, plasma TVs, gift cards at national retailers, and much more. That's right. Every single Visa and MasterCard transaction your business processes each month will earn you valuable points you can redeem for great gifts. Best of all, there's no additional charge for you to start earning reward points. Find out how easy it is for your business to start earning reward points. Call Reward Payment System at 877-687-5473. That's 877-687-5473. That's 877-687-5473. 877-687-5473.
Call Laura now. 1-855-40-LAURA.
I'll be on the O'Reilly Factor tonight. We're going to be talking Trump and Jorge Ramos and your reaction to my interview with Mr. Trump.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Did you know that 1 out of 10 Americans will be diagnosed with what is considered to be a rare disease, and that it could take up to 3-5-8 years to diagnose that disease? Find out how my next guest, Jared Heyman, is using the internet to cut that time to less than 3 months. Don't miss Jared Heyman this Sunday at 9 a.m. on the Costa Report, right here on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Hi, I'm David Tulis, inviting you to make the move with me 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. The David Tulis Show, featuring Nooganomics.com for Chattanooga and beyond. 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Sky Aerial Services uses advanced drone technology to give you a better perspective and depth of your property and project. We offer aerial photography and video for your business, farm, home, or advertising campaigns, as well as editing services to complete the experience. Call us at 423-521-0284 and see how we can help you tell your story about your business, property, or project. We work with real estate professionals, both commercial and residential, developers, engineer inspectors, surveyors, ad agencies, auto and boat dealers, mapping services, insurance inspectors, corporate marketing, charity events, weddings, and photographers. Our consultation is free. Call 423-521-0284. That's 423-521-0284, or visit our website, skyaerialservices.com. Sky Aerial Services. The sky is our limit.
This is America Now with Megan McCain.
Al Gore running is crazy. You're flying around in your private jet all over the world, and you want average Americans to care about the environment. Don't you think you should be doing your part as well?
Megan McCain, weekdays at 7 p.m.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network. Coverage continues Sunday here at Live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out this Sunday live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
If the South would have won, we'd have had it made. I'd probably run for president of the Southern
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy.
CBS News. I'm Harley Carnes. It was live TV.
A 24-year-old reporter in Virginia, Allison Parker, and her cameraman, Adam Ward, were shot dead. That audio from the video of the gun hand outstretched shooting online, like a scene from a video game. The alleged gunman is shot in critical condition, police say, at his own hand. The TV station general manager, Jeff Marks, says Vester Flanagan, the alleged gunman, had anger issues.
After many incidents of his anger coming to the fore, we dismissed him. And he did not take that well. We had to call the police to escort him from the building.
I'm Jim Krasul in Southwest Virginia. The shooting scene at a strip mall in the small Smith Mountain Lake community of Moneta remains closed off as federal, state, and local police continue to gather evidence. A reporter and cameraman for CBS TV affiliate WDBJ in Roanoke were shot and killed during a live on-air interview about tourism here in the rolling hills of Southwest Virginia, halfway between Roanoke and Lynchburg.
The woman being interviewed, who was shot and wounded, is out of surgery, reported in stable condition. Colorado movie theater gunman James Holmes will never see freedom. He's been sentenced by Judge Carlos Samor.
The defendant is sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
12 of those sentences, plus 28 years for each of the people he wounded.
Even though you may disagree with some of our laws, or you may disagree with the outcome of the case, in the end, the system works.
The judge gave Holmes, whom he called despicable, a maximum 3,318 years in prison and told the sheriff, "Get the defendant out of my courtroom, please." Charges have been filed against the suspect in the interrupted terror attack on a train in France. CBS's Elaine Cobb is in Paris.
Ayoub El-Khazani was charged overnight with multiple counts of attempted murder as part of a terrorist act. He's also charged with illegal transport of weapons. El-Khazani initially denied any involvement in terrorism before going silent during police questioning. His brother told French radio today El-Khazani had no links to terrorism.
One of the activists from the Bloody Sunday Civil Rights March back in 1965 has died. CBS's Dan Raviv remembers Amelia Robinson.
You may have seen Amelia Boynton Robinson last March in a wheelchair pushed across the Pettus Bridge in Selma by President Obama, marking the 50th anniversary of the beatings and tear gas that became known as Bloody Sunday.
It started when I was arrested.
That was Robinson reminiscing 5 years ago at age 99 to the Visionary Project.
And Dr. King was across the street.
She was beaten unconscious by state troopers on the bridge. Photographs of that fueled the fight for voting rights for African Americans. Dan Raviv, CBS News.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 312 points. The S&P's up 37. NASDAQ has gained 98. Oil price is still around $39 a barrel. This is CBS News.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-473-7178, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-473-7178, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD. That's 800-473-7178. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-473-7178.
A European rescue ship has made a macabre discovery in the Mediterranean.
Swedish sailors taking part in the EU's migrant rescue operation have found about 50 bodies in the hull of a ship drifting off the coast of Libya. They rescued another 439 survivors. This latest discovery brings to nearly 2,500 the number of would-be immigrants and refugees known to have perished at sea so far this year. We may never know the true total, how many people's dreams of a better life ended unseen on the bottom of the sea. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
A suburban New York man says he considers his tampering with red light traffic cameras a worthwhile act of civil disobedience. Stephen Ruth is unapologetic, posting online video of his work on Long Island and saying red light cameras are an abuse of government, and says he's willing to be arrested to fight for a cause he believes in. Well, he was arrested. He's free on $3,000 bond. Harley Carnes, CBS News.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect lots of sunshine and very nice weather out there through the afternoon. Still a little breezy, highs lower 80s. Tonight, clear, comfortable again, lows near 60. For Thursday, a little warmer, still lots of sun, highs near 85, 85 to 87. Continue dry on Friday. Did you know that you could purchase a home now with little or nothing down? Find your dream home with McBriar Realty. Call McBriar Realty at 706-657-2353 or McBriarRealty.com. And I'm WDEF News 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. This is America Now with Meghan McCain.
Al Gore running is crazy. You're flying around in your private jet all over the world, and you want average Americans to care about the environment. Don't you think you should be doing your part as well?
Meghan McCain, weekdays at 7 p.m.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Your healthy radio addiction starts now.
Power to the people!
The Laura Ingraham Show.
Yesterday, Planned Parenthood was exposed again in an 8th video released by the Center for Medical Progress. Do you still believe there are 2 Planned Parenthoods, or is it time to defund this organization?
Well, you should defund anyway because they're doing the abortions. It's like an abortion factory, which is terrible. So you should defund anyway, but those videos are horrible. Every time you see them, they get worse and worse. And it's not only that, the messengers are so bad. They're always, I mean, these people, what they say and the way they talk, it's like they're selling parts to an automobile or something. It's a terrible situation going on with Planned Parenthood. There's no question about it.
You're listening to the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA. Social conservatives, young voters, men, women, pretty much every demographic, maybe except Latinos, Trump is winning and beating the rest of the Republican field. What's going on here? Well, you just heard him on the show. Your reaction to the interview. He has finally come out and said defund all of Planned Parenthood, which I think is real progress. And community health centers, all sorts of other ways to help women in need, but without tying this government to the heinous and evil acts. The American taxpayers putting a dime into those clinics. They should be investigated by the Justice Department, and Planned Parenthood, by the way, is now planning its own lawsuit, launching a legal battle to keep its funding, according to The Hill. Planned Parenthood has fired the opening salvo in its war against Republican-led defunding efforts. Lawyers for Planned Parenthood announced a lawsuit Tuesday against Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal, claiming he acted illegally by blocking Medicaid funding to the healthcare provider. I love how The Hill calls it a healthcare provider. Did those little babies that got their parts auctioned off, did they get healthcare from Planned Parenthood, those little babies? We'll get into all of this. 855-40-LAURA. The organization's focus on the states could be a shift in strategy. Instead of launching a counterattack against the Center for Medical Progress, the group behind the videos, Planned Parenthood is taking on smaller battles where it thinks it can win. The Justice Department should be investigating and perhaps indicting Hillary, and the Justice Department should be investigating, and we should have a major RICO action filed against Planned Parenthood. This has become an overarching ongoing criminal enterprise at Planned Parenthood, violating U.S. laws that were agreed to many years ago that you could not sell off body parts, which is being done at Planned Parenthood. This is a RICO case. There could be a civil action against Planned Parenthood as well. You just have to have standing. One of these, you know what should happen? Let me tell you what should happen. This is my legal hats going on. One of the women who went to Planned Parenthood to have an abortion, okay, they should actually come forward. Maybe the Holy Spirit, maybe something will move in the hearts of these women who had abortions. They should get a group of these women together and file a RICO action, a civil action against Planned Parenthood, a class action against Planned Parenthood on behalf of these women who were not told, undoubtedly, that their little babies were going to be ripped apart and sold off, even if they're in favor of aborting their children, which I think a lot of these women are probably agonizing about just having done that. But I bet a lot of them didn't even know that this was going to happen. There's all sorts of things that you could do to Planned Parenthood. And a clever legal mind should be on this issue. They're suing to keep their funding. Get out of town. You people are heinous Hitlerian freaks. And the level of evil that pervades the human heart that can countenance this type of behavior is just, it defies comprehension.
I mean, these people, what they say and the way they it's like you're selling parts to an automobile or something.
Bingo. You heard the interview with Donald Trump, your reaction. Apparently there's another truce with Fox News. He had just gotten off the phone with Fox News Chairman, Chief Executive Officer Roger Ailes, praising Megyn Kelly's show. Megyn Kelly, I mean, seems like all's well back with the relationship with Fox. On Jeb Bush and Jeb Bush's attack from Colorado on Trump. The plan is unworkable. It's impractical. It violates people's civil rights. He said my bona fides in immigration can't be questioned because he fell in love across the border with a Mexican woman. I don't understand what all of that was from Jeb. How does that help Jeb Bush to wax on about Columba? Where is Columba, by the way? Why do we never hear from her? Is she ever going to appear on the campaign trail and say anything? Has she said anything to any interviewer? Find out for me.
Not that I've seen.
I understand her English is not great, or she doesn't like to speak in English. I don't know what it is, but how long has she been here? 50 years?
I'm 62 years old. When I was 17 years old, I fell in love with Columba Garnica de Bush. And it's going to be really hard for me to get lectured to by anybody about the politics of immigration.
Oh, you have such bona fides on immigration because you have a wife from Mexico? Well, presumably when you married her, she became an American citizen, which she did, and no one has a problem with that. That's great. That's called legally